My girlfriend had sex with a male friend she told me not to worry about. Now she's begging me not to break up with her. How do I navigate this? TL. I've been planning to propose to my girlfriend of 4 years. We haven't had sex since she wanted to save it for marriage. She went to a birthday party with some online friends from a Discord gaming server. 4 of them went back to her apartment after the party was over and had sex with her. She's begging me not to dump her over this. Is there anything left to save here at all? Or do I just dump her? My girlfriend, we'll call her Katie, and I met in college and have been together for 4 years. I'm the first person she's ever had a relationship with because her parents were strict in high school. Our parents are religious and don't believe in sex before marriage. And while I don't really care, she's very close with her parents, so we've been waiting. Now that she's graduated, I was planning on proposing within the next few months. I had a ring picked out and everything. I was head over heels for this girl. That all changed last night. Or last weekend, really. Katie has had a male best friend since high school that her parents never liked because he claimed to be gay. Let's call him Liam. She was excited to be going to the same college as him because it meant they could hang out as much as they wanted. I've never been a big fan of the male best friend thing, but he's gay, so whatever. Except 2 years ago, he came out as bisexual. I never really liked the vibes when he was around her, so I asked Katie to stop hanging out with him alone. She accused me of not being supportive of him and trying to control her, just like her parents. I told her it was her choice if she wanted to keep seeing him alone, but I wouldn't be sticking around for it. It was the biggest problem we'd ever had in our relationship, but we worked through it. The compromise was that Liam and his boyfriend could hang out with me and my girlfriend together, as couples, but never alone. I never wanted to cut her off from her friends. With the stipulation, however, the 4 of us only got together twice before Liam ended up transferring to a different college over the summer. My girlfriend stayed in contact with them over Discord, stayed friends with both of them when they broke up, and formed a gaming server with them and some of their other friends. Most of these friends were men, but she assured me nothing funny was going on. Most of them even had girlfriends, she said. Last weekend was Liam's birthday party, and he invited her. Katie wanted to talk to me about it first, to make sure I was okay with it. She said she wanted to go since she hadn't seen him in 2 years, and it was only a 2-hour drive away. A bunch of her friends from the Discord server that she had never met in person before were going to be there, women included, and Liam's girlfriend would be there too. Since I had a weekend trip planned, leaving Friday, returning Sunday, I unfortunately wouldn't be able to go with her, but I told Katie I trusted her and had no problems with her going to see her friends. The problem started Saturday night. She texted me in the morning when she was leaving for the party. She texted me when she got there, and she texted me a couple times throughout a check-in. Katie told me that she had planned on driving back around 9 or 10, but it was around that time that the text messages stopped. I assumed she was just having a good time and didn't want to seem controlling, so I didn't bother her. I did stay up to watch her location and make sure she got home, though, and she did around 2 a.m. It was unusual, but I trusted her and didn't want to make any assumptions. I would call her in the morning, and she would explain that she just got carried away having fun with her friends, I thought. I called her Sunday morning, and she didn't answer. She texted back a few minutes that she had been sleeping, had a hangover, and wasn't feeling well. That was very strange because Katie doesn't drink. I told her to drink lots of water and that I hoped she felt better and got on my flight home. When I arrived at my apartment, I found her curled up in my bed in the dark. She has a key to my apartment, but hardly ever needs it because usually I'm with her to do the unlocking. I asked her why she hadn't stayed at her apartment to rest up, but she didn't say anything. Since then, the entire week, she has been saying she's not feeling well and has not left my room. She's taken off work, and I've been going home on my lunch breaks to make sure she was eating. I was worried about her, but in the back of my mind, I was also suspicious about what had happened at the party over the weekend. Late last night, Katie woke me up from the couch sobbing. It was the first time she had left my room since I'd gotten home, other than to use the bathroom. I consoled her until she had calmed down enough to be coherent and asked her what was wrong. She told me she had done something horrible. She told me Saturday night she had somehow gotten really drunk on accident, and Liam offered to drive her home. 3 of her friends from the gaming server on Discord got in a second car to follow them, to take Liam back home after they got to Katie's apartment. They helped her up the stairs and into her apartment. Then, she said, she had sex with them. All of them. All 4 men. Katie said she doesn't remember most of it, that she was really out of it. She said she's been sick ever since trying to figure out how to tell me, because she loves me so much and didn't want to hurt me. Didn't want to hurt me, but gave away her virginity, that she was supposedly saving for marriage, to 4 other men, instead of the man who spent the past 4 years caring for her. She said she wanted to tell me right when I got back, which is why I found her in my apartment, but she couldn't bring herself to because she didn't want to lose me. She begged me not to break up with her. I told her I needed some time to myself to think. She then begged me not to make her go back to her apartment. I didn't feel like fighting, so I just told her she could go back into my room. I could hear her crying intermittently all night. I have to admit, I was brought to tears myself. I can't believe how she would throw away our whole relationship, the 4 years we've built together, over one party. I was going to propose soon. I trusted her, and now it's broken. I'm at work, and I haven't been able to focus all day. Part of me wants to tell her to get out the second I get home, if she's still there, and that I never want to see again. Part of me wants to talk to her more and see if there's anything left to salvage. I can't tell which side is more unreasonable. How do I navigate this? Update. My M26 girlfriend, F22, had sex with a male friend she told me not to worry about. Now she's begging me not to break up with her. How do I navigate this? Trigger warnings all over this. Sorry for everyone who didn't get that on my last post. My girlfriend has gone to bed early, and I have nothing better to do, so I'm finally getting a chance to write this. First, something you can skip through to the actual update if you don't care. I think my other post was taken down for being fake. One of the biggest reasons people seemed to think it was fake was because I wasn't spending time in the comments denying every accusation. I hadn't even opened Reddit since I left work to go check on Katie. It wasn't anywhere near my top priority at the time. For some quick and easy debunking, though. One moment he says he has her location, and the next he's surprised she's at his apartment. I check her location Saturday night solely to make sure she got home okay. After that, I did not check her location because I am not a stalker who tracks her every move. On iPhone, it shows your location in the text messages with that person, so he either hadn't looked at their texts at all between his flight and getting home, or it's made up. Not everyone has an iPhone like you. I do, but my girlfriend doesn't, so we use an app. And no, I don't get notifications from the app because, again, I don't need to be a stalker. The random excessive details. Sorry? Like I mentioned, I had been stewing on everything since she told me what happened that night. I just wanted to get it all out. Those were all the details I'd had floating around in my head surrounding the situation. The update is full of typos while the main text is immaculate. OP only wrote the update and the TLDR. My apologies for being a bit of a mess and in a rush after realizing my girlfriend might have been raped. That's my bad. I've gone back and fixed them, by the way. I had no idea my post would get hundreds of more comments after I closed Reddit that would skeptically analyze everything I wrote to the letter. There's absolutely no concern that she's gotten pregnant. No worries about STIs. Not at the time, no. I didn't even know if I was going to stay with her. Pregnancy and STIs would have been a concern if I did. But at the point of writing, I believed she had cheated on me and was leaning towards breaking up with her. No worries that she was potentially drugged and raped. Again, not at the time of writing. I was still reeling from what she had told me, that she had sex with 4 men. She didn't say anything about getting drugged or being raped, which was something I would have assumed she'd have mentioned. That was before I read all the comments that she may be in denial herself, which hadn't even occurred to me. So this religious girl who wanted to wait for marriage suddenly wanted a train run on her? Obviously fake. No, as it turns out, she did not want any part of what happened. For everyone who said someone in my position wouldn't have taken the time to write everything out for a post. Well, look at the rest of the subreddit. If people in sticky situations didn't post about them, there wouldn't be any posts on here at all. And to everyone who suggested either it was fake or she must have been a cow for 4 men to carry her up the stairs, you can personally fuck off. Everything above was a whole load of presumptuous BS, though I do wish everything I wrote wasn't true. For the record, I only wrote all that out so people wouldn't harass me on this post too. Here's where you can skip to if none of that pertains to you. After reading all the comments that opened my eyes to what really happened, thank you so much to everyone who helped with this, especially you /MissBean163 and you /Vaslistisha. I left work a little before lunch and immediately went home to check on my girlfriend. She was as I had left her, curled up in bed and crying. The first thing I did was just go hold her after asking for consent. I cried with her. After a while, I gently brought up what happened that night. Did she actually want any of that to happen? A lot was said, but long story short, as many of you suggested, she did not. To clear some things up, these friends that she was with at the party were not just random people she met online. They were personal friends of Liam, who she had been best friends with for 8 years. These friends, while she herself never met them in person, were people she had talked to and gamed with over the past year or so. I would hear her talking with them over the headset, and I never noticed anything strange. She's pretty shy and introverted, so I was happy for her to have friends to play with while she gamed. They weren't all men either. From what she said, there were 4 or 5 women in the server as well. Of the people at the party, 3 of the men and 2 of the women attended. Also, there were Liam's girlfriend, a couple of other friends, and a few of their partners. All in all, there were only around 15 guests, and everyone knew each other for the most part. It was never meant to be a huge thing, just a get-together of Liam's closest friends at his house. Alcohol wasn't even supposed to be a big part of it. At the beginning of the party, a lot of them just gamed together since they hadn't been able to in person for a while. There was no big girl/guy separation, as a lot of people at the party were LGBT+. Some people got in little groups to chat together, just general mingling, etc. About midway through the party, one of the guests poured everyone some mystery shots. Katie rejected it at first. Liam, however, urged her to for his birthday. When everyone else heard she'd never taken a shot before, they all egged her on too. It was just one shot. Liam insisted it would wear off well before time for her to head home, and if not, she could just wait however much longer until she felt comfortable driving. She felt like she had to. From that point, things got a little less clear. There was more hanging out. There was more alcohol. People, she wasn't sure which ones, kept handing her drinks and insisting. She didn't want to ruin Liam's party, and she knew if nothing else, he would look out for her. She didn't feel right, but Katie said she thought he would have told her if something was wrong, and he kept telling her everything was okay. She remembers feeling really sick. She remembers seeing others passed out on the couch. She remembers Liam saying he wanted to personally take her home, driving her car, to make sure she was okay. He felt bad. He had let her get so fucked up, he said. She remembers one of her friends from Discord telling Liam he would follow them in his car to take Liam back after, and she remembers 2 more guys from the Discord getting in his car. She remembers Liam giving her a bottle of water in the car to help her sober up. She remembers them carrying her up the stairs to her apartment and laughing, being brought inside her apartment. I'm not going to describe any further than that. She didn't want any of what happened. Was she naive? Maybe. Did she probably miss some red flags, make some choices she shouldn't have? Sure. Katie did not deserve that. The fault belongs with the men who did it. She didn't want to file a police report, and I'm not giving her an ultimatum. Thanks to advice from you/needleworkgirl2167 and you/lilac_homestead, as well as what should be common empathy. I've read up a lot on how horrific that can be, and I'm in full support of her decision. Of course, if she ever changes her mind and decides she does want to file a report, I'll be there for her through that too. What we're going to do is see a doctor. Part of the reason Katie says she spent most of this time curled up in bed is that she has been in a lot of pain. She really doesn't want to be poked and prodded it down there, but after some convincing and assurance, she agreed. She's going to be seen on Monday and also going to get pregnancy and STI testing, which we're equally worried about, done while we're there. Over the weekend, we've talked a lot. We've both cried a lot. There's been lots of hugs and giving SOS when needed. I have opened the curtains in the bedroom, so she gets sunlight in there at least. For anyone who was concerned, no, I'm not making her go back to her apartment. For the assholes who suggested it, no, I'm not leaving her, before or after her healing, to find someone who isn't damaged. And no, I will not be ratting her out to her parents. I'm taking the entirety of next week off to stay home and take care of her, go to as many doctor's appointments as needed, set up therapy, etc. I don't think I can ever make up for leaving her alone the way I did this past week, but I will be there for her through anything and everything that comes next, whatever that may mean. Again, thank you to everyone for my first post who helped me realize what an egocentric dumbass I was being. I hope this update helps everyone who was concerned. Katie isn't okay right now, but hopefully we can get there. Update 2. Hospital visit. Today is the first day I've gone to work since I made my first post. This is what's happened since my last update. Sorry if this is hard to read. I haven't been doing well myself. As with my last update, please be aware that I'm writing about very sensitive topics here. Trigger warning for this entire post. After talking to her and bringing up some of the points made by commenters in my last update, Katie decided she did want to get a rape kit done, just in case she ever wanted to make a report in the future. As such, I went by her apartment solo before our hospital trip to grab her clothes from that night, as many suggested on my last post. The place was a mess. One of her tables was broken. There was blood on the bed. Her clothes were torn and scattered about. It was no wonder she hadn't wanted to go back. I took pictures of everything, just in case. We got to the first hospital early in the morning, hoping we wouldn't have to wait super long. We ended up only having to wait around 2 hours, which wasn't terrible. I brought my Switch for Katie to play Tetris on in the meantime. Thanks you /Spoink74. It seemed to help take her mind off things, at least. From there, though, it was all downhill. After we were moved to an exam room, the nurse asked the usual intake questions and then made Katie recount every detail of what had happened, to the best of her recollection, while she just sat there and looked bored. Occasionally, Katie would choke up, and the nurse would tell her to go on in an annoyed tone. The nurse left, we waited for around an hour, and then the doctor came in and did the same thing. Half an hour later, the doctor returned to tell us that they didn't have any rape kits at that hospital, and we would need to go to a different one, over an hour away. So, obviously, after that, Katie was pretty distraught. We had to wait another half hour to receive her discharge papers and be able to leave, and by that point she was ready to just go straight home. We did go to the second hospital, though. By the time we got there, it was the afternoon. We stopped for lunch on the way, and things were looking pretty packed. We had to wait over 5 hours to be put in an exam room, and another hour to be seen by the nurse. This nurse, again, had Katie recount the incident in excruciating detail. He would ask questions for clarification and become irritated if she couldn't answer. Someone else came in half an hour or so later to tell us that they couldn't perform a sexual assault exam because too much time had passed, but she could go to a police station to make a report herself if she felt inclined to. They could still check her for injuries and test her for STI/pregnancy if she wanted. I'm not going to go into detail here, but they found some pretty severe bruising, abrasions, and fissures that definitely explained her pain. That exam in and of itself was traumatic all over again, really. The doctor was very insensitive, didn't seem to understand the gravity of the situation, and kept making jokes throughout. Ouch, that must have hurt. Unfortunately, all they could do for that was give her some topical pain relief, though she may have to get surgery if it doesn't heal on its own. They also think she has adductor tendinopathy, which is like a thigh muscle strain, so she's not supposed to be up and about a lot. She tested negative for STIs, but we're told they might not show up for quite some time, so we chose to get her on preventatives. Pregnancy test was also negative, thankfully, but they also said that it's unlikely the hormone levels would be detectable at this point, even if she were pregnant. We were told to make appointments with her primary for the next few months to get retested. Then we waited another hour for discharge papers. Between both hospital visits, Katie was charged over $5,000. Insurance doesn't want to pay because they say it was elective. Obviously, we're going to fight it, but it's just one more thing on top of the pile. I still have the pictures of her apartment along with her clothes from that night in a sealed bag that the hospital didn't want in case she ever decides she wants to report, but things aren't looking good. Her pregnancy tests have still been turning out negative, at least. Since then, Katie has not been doing well, to say the least. For the whole first day after, I don't think she even spoke at all. She had her first therapy appointment with a specialist last Wednesday, but she hasn't talked about it much, so I'm not sure how it went. The doctors wrote her out of work until this Wednesday, due to the extent of her injuries. Her next therapy appointment will be right after her first day back. Hopefully that helps with the transition. I've looked into therapy for myself, as suggested, but that's on the back burner for now. What was a priority, as some of you/trespassers will, what am I thinking, you/Coffee Toffee 0, pointed out, was warning the other women/people in the Discord server about the 4 men that assaulted Katie. It didn't go quite as hoped, though to be honest, I'm not sure what I was even really expecting in the first place. With her permission, I logged into her Discord account, only to find that she had been banned from the server and unfriended by almost everyone. There were a couple people that had messaged Katie to ask her what happened. Through them, I was able to find out the version of the events that Katie's assaulters had been telling everyone. Very long story, which I can expand upon later if asked, but after typing everything above, I'm pretty spent for now. Short, according to them, Katie came on to Liam and tried to assault him in front of the 3 others after they had graciously driven her 2 hours home. I try to tell those I was able to what really happened, but I'm not sure how many of them believe me. I haven't told Katie yet. I don't think it's something she needs to worry about right now. She already has enough on her plate. Anyway, that's how things are right now. Again, sorry if this isn't written very well. I started writing this post when I first got into work, and now I'm about to leave. It's been very hard to get it all out, but I know people are concerned, and it's better than keeping it all bottled up, I think. Don't know how long it will be until the next update. Sorry if I'm not in the comments much on this one, as I'm about to be driving home, and then I'll be with Katie. Thank you everyone for your help.